Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're jumping straight into Kenya's Finance Bill 2025 today, looking at some proposed clauses causing a stir.
Yeah, we're drawing on a Citizen TV Kenya report. It covered submissions made to the National Assembly's Finance and Planning Committee.
And we've got input from the Law Society of Kenya, KPMG East Africa, Ernest & Young, and CDH law firm.
Exactly. Legal minds, audit experts, all weighing in.
Our aim here is to unpack what these changes could actually mean for individuals, for businesses,
Right. And there are two proposals, really, that have drawn significant concern from these groups.
Okay, let's tackle the first one, Clause 1. This is the idea about spousal liability for tax defaults.
Making one spouse potentially responsible if the other doesn't pay their taxes.
And the reaction. The report says LSK, KPMG, E&Y, CDH, they all rejected it. Unanimous.
Yeah, flat-out rejection. The core argument seems to be, well, it goes against individual financial autonomy.
Right, like your finances are your own responsibility. Marriage shouldn't automatically transfer tax debt.
Precisely. It challenges that principle of individual accountability. And, a tax default could be anything from just being late to something more serious.
It does feel like a significant shift away from personal responsibility. Okay, Clause 2. This one involves the KRA.
The Kenya Revenue Authority. This proposal is about giving them automatic access to potentially sensitive information.
Trade secrets, personal data, and the power to issue agency notices.
Yes, and crucially, even if the taxpayer has already lodged an appeal, say with the Tax Appeals Tribunal or the courts.
Wait, so even if you're formally disputing a KRA assessment,
they could still potentially access this data and enforce collection actions through agency notices. That's the proposal being challenged.
Okay, who's raising the flags on this one?
Both the LSK and KPMG East Africa expressed major concerns here.
And the worry is?
It significantly undermines the right to due process, the taxpayer's right to a fair hearing.
It kind of makes the appeal process seem less meaningful if enforcement can happen anyway.
Exactly. Why appeal if the action you're appealing against can proceed regardless?
Did the LSK have specific points on the data access part?
They did. They questioned sort of why KRA would need things like credit secrets or private retail data. And they framed it as an affront to data protection principles, mentioning Section 26 of the Data Protection Act specifically.
Okay, so privacy concerns layered on top of the due process issue.
And the LSK used the term nugatory. They argued allowing KRA to enforce before an appeal is heard renders that appeal nugatory.
And nugatory, meaning basically pointless or ineffective.
Pretty much. Takes the power out of the appeal mechanism.
Okay, moving beyond those two main clauses, anything else flagged?
Yes, the LSK also brought up the proposed removal of a tax incentive. It's the 15% tax rebate for affordable housing developers.
Ah, right. That was introduced, back in 2017?
January 1st, 2017, yeah. It was designed to encourage building affordable homes, offering a lower tax rate than the usual 30% corporate tax.
And the LSK opposes removing that incentive.
They do, which, raises questions about the potential impact on affordable housing goals if it's scrapped.
Definitely something to watch. And the report mentioned these discussions are happening alongside another bill.
That's right, the Virtual Assets Providers Bill 2025. That one's about regulating crypto taxes. So, yeah, a busy time for financial policy in Kenya.
Okay, so to wrap up the main points from these submissions.
We're seeing strong pushback from legal and audit professionals on key parts of the Finance Bill 2025.
Specifically, the spousal tax liability idea.
The KRA's proposed powers for data access and enforcement during appeals.
And the removal of the affordable housing tax break.
Yeah, the themes are concerns about individual financial autonomy, due process, data protection, and maybe slowing down affordable housing.
So for you, listening, these aren't just abstract legal points. They could touch on your financial life within marriage, your rights when dealing with the KRA, and broader economic issues like housing.
It really highlights that tension, doesn't it, between the government's need to collect revenue and the rights and protections taxpayers should have.
Definitely. So considering these objections from the experts,
it leaves us with a thought. What does this signal about the evolving relationship between citizens, businesses, and the tax authority in Kenya? What's the right balance look like for you? Something to think about.